Hello there, my name is Anthony Barocas for Stream Tech here at NAB 2024. I am here in the Mevo table here in the B&H Pavilion, and I'm here with Mevo Joe Capehart, and we have the star of the show, I think, really, is this new Mevo Core that is really, I think, is getting rave reviews everywhere we go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it delivers on the image quality, making full use of what Micro Four Thirds can deliver, yet still doing all of that within the Mevo ecosystem, which means you get the wireless capability, you get the remote control of the camera, you get the direct integration into the Mevo Multicam app, and the built-in Wi-Fi. You can, I mean, we got one right here, and you can literally just pick that up, and it's the camera that's coming over here on this feed, and it's live. And I think what was the impetus for making this camera, like, it's such a jump from the start to the core? Like, what is that story?
Sure. So I mean, as everyone knows Mevo as the company who's kind of democratizing live streaming. So we created the Mevo Start originally with the idea of, if you can use a phone, you should be able to broadcast, you should be able to stream. And the one thing that we were not getting was the broadcast quality. We wanted broadcast quality. Everyone is left and right. Hey, give us 4K. Hey, give us HDMI. Hey, like, we want it. And it was just like the natural progression was to up that quality. We had to do it. And there's also just the idea of being able to create content and being like, you will not get that content unless you're a producer. You won't get that content if you're not a videographer or a photographer. And it's like, well, we're Mevo. We can bring that quality into this ecosystem and make it easier for anyone to pick it up. It doesn't matter if you're at little Timmy's baseball game, or if you're capturing House of Worship, or if you're in the kitchen cooking. It doesn't matter. You're going to get crisp quality, and you're still going to get the ease of use. And I think that's what Mevo brings to the table.
And I think, like, what you part of what you said there is, I see a lot of people who are using Mevos for sports. Yeah. Little league games, things like that. And the thing everybody's always asking about is there a way to get a longer lens, a longer lens? Because baseball, especially, the size of the field, you can't shoot, over the pitcher's shoulder at the catcher unless you've got this massively long lens, which you have in broadcast, but you can't do with a Start. No. And, the Start is a great little camera, and it gives you, I've always been, impressed with the Start in terms of the ability to pull good color out of low light, the ability to crop in and deliver a surprisingly good image. Yeah. But it can only go so far.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, at the end of the day, it's a fixed focus. It's, we recommend like 10 to 15 feet for the Mevo Start. And yeah, you can get multiple cameras for multiple angles at a very low price point. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to up your game, you start here. That's where you start and stop is core. And start. You don't pull out a Phillips head screwdriver for a flathead job, right? Like, know your tools, and every tool has a role to play. There's just, what are you using it for? What are you trying to accomplish? And I've seen you in the forums. You asked that question. A lot of our users do. We got like Jared Wheeler and them out there, and they're just like, hey, instead of saying, I'm going to buy this camera for this, tell us what you're trying to do, and we'll tell you the tools to do it. Right. There's no reason to bring, a Bugatti to I don't know, like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I agree. I always tell people, pick the right tool for the job. A hammer for a nail, a screwdriver for a screw. Yeah. Yes, you can technically get a screw in with a hammer, but it's not the right tool for the job.
No, 100%.
And I've used Starts on production, and like I said, it's been very impressed with them. And I am a big Micro Four Thirds user, putting big lenses on Micro Four Thirds. Yeah. What made you decide, like, you could have done C mount, you could have done E mount, there's a couple options there. What was Micro Four Thirds? What was that?
Yeah, I think it's becoming adopted in so many ways, right? Like, Micro Four Thirds is really kind of just taken over in a lot of ways, where it just kind of made sense not only for our users who already maybe have them for other hobbies that they have, but it also made sense for the price point. You're getting super high quality without needing to kind of bump up to that next price point, right?
Right.
So I think it's a balance. And when you're doing hardware, and you've seen comments of it, it's like, well, you know, but why would I do that? The Mevo Start does 1080 and the Core also streams 1080. It's like, it's a difference, right? You've got to have a balance to kind of stay within a certain price point. The Micro Four Thirds just made sense for what we were trying to do and that price point we were trying to enter in.
And I like the fact that it's not just a Micro Four Thirds camera. It's holistically designed around the same concept as the rest of the Mevo cameras in that it's got the internal battery.
Yep.
It's got the ability to remotely dig in there, you know, so it's got the chipset and the OS so that you can, from the Mevo software, go in, adjust your iris, your ISO, you know, your shutter speed and things like that. So it integrates seamlessly into the ecosystem that you have.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I've got Panasonic Micro Four Thirds and GH4s and everything, but there's a gap between a DSLR and any ecosystem. That's like I either have to come in HDMI or convert it to NDI or something like that. This thing, because it's part of the ecosystem, you know, it's sort of like, yes, it's Micro Four Thirds, but the whole back end it connects into stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's after, you know, the COVID happened, everybody started wanting, you know, webcam mode this, webcam mode that, NDI this, NDI that, and we've kind of just continued on that path of, you know what, why do this closed system? We've got HDMI out, we have SRT, we've got NDI in and out, and you just have that flexibility to take the ecosystem where it makes sense for you. And I said it in our unboxing video, is the day of a one-use product, it's done.
Yeah.
You just don't. Like, no one wants to spend $1,000 and say, I only use it for this.
Right.
It's going to collect dust otherwise. No, you can use this, and it doesn't matter what it's for, what the event is, and then when you're not actually doing a production, plug it in as a typical webcam, use it that way, or if you don't want to use our software, you can bring it into something else using SRT or NDI.
Right.
Or if you have a hardware switcher and you're, you know, a more proponent of, you know, staying hardwired, you can still do that. There's no reason to lock you into our ecosystem, although we welcome you to bring in your NDI sources if you want to. It's just, again, back to the tools. What do you need for that job? And then you mentioned being able to control the different features, and that's another thing that Core brought. So everyone got used to controlling your image quality, your ISO, your shutter speed, everything like that. Well, we brought that with the power zoom and autofocus. Now you can control all of that as well from the app. Our users got used to controlling our cameras from the app. We want to make sure they have that holistic control no matter where they're at.
And I think that really is going to help the Core grow the Mevo multicam ecosystem. And, you know, do we have any hints on what's next?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on a really fun software roadmap right now.
Okay.
And naturally, the first thing, day one of launch, it was what's the next hardware? But as we fill that gap, we're working on software. So over the next week, we'll probably have some pretty fun announcements for software-wise. But what's coming next for hardware, not yet determined. I think we're kind of balancing out, you know, the in-betweens between what are people loving from Mevo Start, what are people loving from Core, and let's kind of see where we can kind of merge those two together if possible, and see what middle ground maybe we can meet. So it's I don't have a whole lot to share on the hardware side, but the software side, we have a really exciting roadmap. It's going to be real fun.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing all that. And thank you again for taking time to talk with me here at NAB. My name is Anthony Barocas for Stream Tech here at NAB 2024. Thanks for watching.